Welcome to this edition of On the Scene. I'm your host, Tim Kelly. Today we're talking Suffolk National Night Out. The big night's coming up on Tuesday, August the 6th. You want to find out what's in store for this year? Stay tuned. Welcome back to On the Scene. We're talking Suffolk National Night Out this time, and join us for two very special guests to talk about everything that's going on this year and also kind of set the stage for everything that we've been doing over all these years. We've been doing National Night Out here in the city of Suffolk. We have Diana Klink, who's the Director of Media and Community Relations for the city of Suffolk and the coordinator for Suffolk's National Night Out, and Captain Jesse Epperson with the Suffolk Police Department. Again, National Night Out doesn't work unless we have our public safety partners who are getting out there and mixing and mingling with everybody out in the community to have a really good time on the big night. So the big night for this year, for 2019, is Tuesday, August the 6th. Now, just in case someone's watching this program, have no idea, what you say a National Night Out, what are we talking about? What are we talking about when we talk about National Night Out?
Well, I'll go ahead and jump right in here, Captain. Sure. National Night Out, for all intents and purposes, is just a going-away party for crime. Mm-hmm. It's an opportunity for our citizens to become engaged, to get out, mix, mingle, have fun with our first responders who work in and are so involved in our communities 365 days a year, but this is the one night that we can really come out and show that combined presence and let our citizens know that we care about them and that we're vested in our community and want to make this a safe place to live. And
National Night Out is not just one event at one location. It's events all across the city. So there are smaller neighborhoods gathering, there's medium-sized neighborhoods gathering, there's big groups gathering. So really, you can find a party somewhere. You don't have to look very far. And of course, we have a great Suffolk National Night Out website that you can go to. We have all the parties that'll be dotting the map, so to speak, on there as we get closer and closer to Tuesday, August the 6th. But really, it's the community that makes National Night Out work, isn't it?
Sure, absolutely. We look forward to working with the community every year with National Night Out. We feel as if we've built on that community trust and relationships we've built over the years and throughout the year, and it kind of culminates with a big party every year. So we look forward to it every year, especially as as far as formal activities and things like that go.
Now, Diana, how do people get involved with National Night Out? Certainly, again, looking for a party, you can always go to one. This is all events that are free and open to the public across the city, as we said. But if someone is thinking at this point, look, I want to organize an event, how would they go about doing that?
Certainly feel free to reach out to me directly. As you mentioned, I'm the coordinator for National Night Out for the City of Suffolk. I can be reached by phone in my office at 514-4104, or certainly by email, and I know we'll have that information up as well. Mm-hmm. But if you want to know what National Night Out is all about, how can I get involved? How can I register my community, homeowners association, civic league, church, fraternal organization, apartment complex, you name it. We've got all of those entities and more that participate every year with National Night Out, and I'll certainly give you the information that you need, and we'll make it happen.
When we talk about registering, what does that mean? At that point, what does that mean for a community, a group, a business, or whatever to get on the docket, so to speak? What does that bring for them, so to speak?
Basically, what happens is by registering, we find out the who, what, when, where, how type of aspect of how they want to celebrate. For instance, is the event going to be at, if it's an apartment complex, that the apartment, of course, the property management company needs to certainly be aware of that.
Sure.
But for instance, if it's held at that type of a location, is it going to be at your clubhouse? Maybe you've got a community pool. Mm-hmm. Or is it open just for residents that live within that community? Or are you opening it up to the general public? What are you going to be doing to celebrate? Are you cooking out hot dogs on the grill? Maybe everybody's bringing a dish to share with everybody else, that type of thing. As I said, whether it's a glass of lemonade, on a porch that we talk about sometimes in some of the presentations we give, or if it's a full-scale party, hot dogs, hamburgers, fish frying, that type of thing. We see it all here and then some.
Now, Captain Epperson, correct me if I'm wrong, certainly one of the big highlights of National Night Out are the tours.
Sure.
People say, well, wait, what's going on tour? Well, it's public safety kind of going on tour, going out in the community, meeting everyone, visiting events, seeing what's going on, sharing a hot dog, sharing some lemonade, just having a good time, dancing in some cases. I'm sure we have tons of video of officers and firefighters and sheriff's deputies doing all kinds of kind of cool stuff out there in the community. But talk about the tours and what it means to public safety personnel here in Suffolk.
Sure. So the tours this year, just like we did last year, we'll be leaving from City Hall, and we'll be breaking up into tours, and we'll get to exactly how many tours there are as we work our way through this till August. But we break our personnel up into different tours, and we'll scatter throughout the city, whether it be from Whaleville all the way up to Harborview.
Right.
And we're just going and visiting communities and spend a little bit of time shaking some hands, eating some good food as always, and playing games. And like you said, there are those incidents where we do dance. So, but it's a good way to bond with our community and see those different aspects, all the different neighborhoods throughout the city. And we vary vastly in Suffolk, from Harborview to Whaleville,
right.
All the different communities. So we get to meet everybody and see what's going on that night.
And go ahead.
I was going to say 430 square
Right,
miles.
right.
Absolutely,
Really,
absolutely.
when you think about it.
Now, and of course, you talked about meeting with everyone, but it's not just coming here and saying you have a great event, that kind of thing, but it's a chance to really build relationships and strengthen relationships that are already there.
Absolutely.
Because I think sometimes, certainly with public safety, people, your men and women are showing up when things are not going right. But these are the night when everything's going right. The city is certainly, sparkling. Everybody's having a great time. But it gives you a chance to kind of let your hair down, so to speak, and kind of just chat with people, engage with them on a level where everybody's out having a good time. It's all about community, whether it's this community or that community. We're all one big community, correct?
Absolutely. We like to think and we strive to build relationships every day of the year with our community, whether it be a call for service or talking with someone on the street as we do foot patrols and things of that nature. So we're building that relationship throughout the year, and this is just kind of the culmination of that, the official party, if we will, the going away party for crime. So it's a way of us showing up. We think of those relationships back and forth, but it's kind of a way of, getting out to the community and saying thank you too for helping us, because they're a vital part of that relationship.
And it gives you a chance certainly to mix and mingle with kids of all ages, because again, this is all about Suffolk as far as what we're talking about with National Night Out. Now, Diana, as far as when the individual events are going on and things, like you said, there's a wide variety of what people do. A lot of people get very, very creative with this kind of a thing. And as you said, whether it's just a simple cookout or something a little bit bigger, it's just the fact that people are coming together, standing together as a community, saying no to crime, getting to know their public safety partners in the community, and just having a good time, as we always like to say, on the hottest night of the year, right?
Without a doubt. I think especially this day and age, we're also, whether we're connected to our devices or whatever, when we talk about social media, in a way it's everything but, because you're pretty much isolated.
Sure.
This gets everybody together, as I said, face to face, getting out, meeting our police officers, our firefighters, Commonwealth Attorney's Office, Sheriff's Office, probation and parole. There's so other city departments and agencies and so forth. There's so many different folks that do get involved and go out. And again, that, as you mentioned, that's the name of the game, is getting out face to face, meeting our neighbors, and then becoming more caring and concerned citizens as a result of that.
And you mentioned certainly several agencies and city departments. It is a team approach when it comes to National Night Out, as far as how the city is looking at it, because again, we want to make sure communities are able to have a good time and have some of the resources and things, and just the support as well. Again, we talk about the tour, but everything kind of kicks off here at City Hall that evening right before the tours go out. Talk a little bit about what's going on with that ceremony. Sure.
With that ceremony, I mentioned the different public safety, our first responders and public safety officials that participate. We'll be doing our actual rendezvousing, so to speak, here at City Hall on the evening of Tuesday, August the 6th. That event will start at 5:30. We'll hear from our public safety officials, police chief, Chief Thomas Bennett, our fire and rescue chief, Mike Baraki. We'll hear from our Commonwealth Attorney's Office, Phil Ferguson, our Sheriff, E.C. Harris. We'll also hear from Western Tidewater Regional Jail, who partners with us and does a tremendous job out in the community with us as well. And then, as I said, our citizens come in. We've got a multitude of our public safety personnel that are they can't wait to get out and start enjoying the good time. So it takes about maybe half an hour, 25, 30 minutes, and then we determine what tours we want to go on. And by that I mean which designated communities, which parties are we going to. And we'll go in force, to those communities, and as I said, start the fun for the entire evening.
It's truly, I think, a night of smiles as far as what we see from everyone involved with this. And one of the great things about National Night Out, and the way the whole Suffolk community has embraced it, is the fact that people are seeing what we're doing here in Suffolk when it comes to National Night Out, and it makes a difference. And we are proud to say 5 times national champs when it comes to National Night Out, so we figured out how to do this, but again, it doesn't work without the communities. But talk about as far as how that happens. Certainly everyone does their thing here. We have the one big night, but then Suffolk's able to kind of put something in the pride case because of the fact that we're receiving this national attention.
Sure. The National Association of Town Watch, in fact, this is the 36th anniversary for National Night Out. The communities, for instance, the city of Suffolk, of course, registered to participate. Right. Part of that, some of the responsibilities after the big night is we have to put together information that shows just how many citizens we've reached, what have we done, what were the special events, what were the highlights, what type of media coverage did we have. So it's a huge scrapbook, and when I say huge, it's probably a good maybe 10 or 12 inches thick by the time.
Not a light read.
No, that's for sure by the time we get that submitted, but that's just because we've got so many great, wonderful things going on here. But they review the submissions from across the entire United States as well as U.S. territories. And as you mentioned, of course, first place in the nation, and we've been in the top 13 in the nation. When I say we, it's all of us working together. Our citizens, we couldn't do this without them. So we've been for the last 13 years, the top 5 in the nation. Again, our population category is under 100,000, and as we all know, we're growing every day, so kind of reaching that threshold to be possibly crossing over into another category. But again, it's just a phenomenal amount of work and effort by everybody involved.
Well, we're going to take a little short time out and show you kind of some of the efforts that went into last year's National Night Out. Again, we finished first in the nation for 2018. We're going to show you a short video, then come back with more discussion about Suffolk National Night Out.
A night like this revitalizes our commitment to be better, to be nicer to one another, and perhaps to be humbled in our interactions with one another on a daily basis.
And I'm just so proud of my city each and every day when I see the contributions that you all make to our community. So thank you so much.
I want to personally thank all the men and women of the Suffolk Police Department, some of which you see here tonight. They all work very hard to keep this city safe. And on behalf of everyone here, I want to thank all of you for your hard work.
So you can see what a great time we had last year, which means this year is going to be even bigger and better, and we like to pride ourselves on that. And you know, we talked about earlier the fact that National Night Out, it's the fact that you're participating. It doesn't matter the size of your event, it just matters the fact that you're sort of at the party. And Diana, talk again about the fact of the different, you know, the fact that different communities are involved and how they're involved. And there's one community that really does a really big show.
Sure, as you know, as I said, large or small, the main
Right.
thing is getting out there, getting together. We range from, you know, as I said, neighbors getting together at a community cul-de-sac and, you know, sharing, as I said, you know, ice cream, lemonade, whatever type of situation, to huge events. For instance, the National Night Out at Obacy and Health Fair, which this year is actually they've outgrown their location at Kingsport Middle School. Will be at the Kingsport High School this year.
You'd say they graduated, so to speak.
Right. That's a good way to put
Yeah.
it. But Captain, I know that's probably, as I said, when you think about the sheer number
Sure,
of people,
absolutely.
that's about, like I said, 4,000
Yeah.
of our closest friends and neighbors getting together to have a wonderful time, as well as a free health fair that's provided by Obacy Hospital. So, you know, when we talk, it's a well-rounded
Yeah.
safety event. It's whether it's your personal safety, your health, or whatever, to our community safety. It's just a phenomenal, phenomenal evening.
Now, one of the key parts about National Night Out is Project 365. So, Diana, if you can explain what Project 365 is, and then Captain, I want you to touch on what our topic is again for this year.
Okay, Project 365, that's actually a requirement as part of that competition, and what that basically is as it relates to from the National Association of Town Watch, is that you want to determine a need in your community. What is something that you want to focus on 365 days a year?
Right.
Hence, of course, the Project 365.
Gotcha.
So,
And our topic this year, yet again, is lock it, don't lose it. And that's been our motto. I believe it was last year as well, and we're bringing it forward again this year.
Sure.
And basically, lock your cars, lock your houses. You don't want to lose your valuables, so lock them up. We found that most of our crime as it relates to automotive thefts, theft from motor vehicles, and even sometimes theft from businesses and homes is because people just don't lock their valuables up. And people come by, check doors, and, you know, steal whatever's in plain view. So not only don't make sure you lock your car doors, but don't leave valuables in your car as well.
Right.
Remove firearms, money, purses, wallets, things of that nature. So.
And I think it's great that certainly we all are proud about the fact that Suffolk is such a safe community. But that means you still got to take those steps. And that, again, simply just like you said, locking the
lock
car.
your door.
Start with that, because what people are doing in those instances, they're going around, they see if it's unlocked, then you're giving them a perfect opportunity. If it's locked, they're moving on.
Absolutely.
A la, the crime is not going to occur.
Sure.
You don't lose anything, and y'all don't have to go out and then.
Absolutely.
And a lot of our numbers, correct me if I'm wrong, crime numbers are driven by simply people not locking things
Absolutely.
up, correct?
Most of our larceny numbers in Suffolk are driven by, you know, theft from motor vehicles
Right.
and things of that nature. So.
And again, National Night Out gives us the opportunity through Project 365 and all the efforts that we do to get messages like lock it, don't lose it out there, and stress the importance of that, because again, you're not just keeping it safe for yourself, but it's for your community, because where there's no temptation, there's not going to be a crime. So for example, if you have a neighborhood that perhaps historically doesn't lock the doors or lock the cars, maybe your car is locked, but you got to work together as a community to solve the problem, because again, that's where we can have the biggest impact, correct?
yeah, we certainly like to say, I mean, safety is a shared responsibility. We've all got to, you know, to make certain that we, you know, that's the forefront of what we do.
Now, again, I want to remind everyone, as far as when it comes to registering, Dinah, certainly everything is coordinated through your office and what we're doing here, but talk about how people can register an event, and there's also a deadline to make sure that gets done, correct?
There sure is.
Okay.
That deadline is going to be July 14th this year, and we want to make certain that we get everybody that would like to be involved. As I said, the registration time frame has been extensive, but of course we need to get it wrapped up so that we can start developing the tours and so forth, working with Captain Epperson to make sure that we can actually facilitate to get out to greet and to spend a fun evening with all of those communities that have organized. So certainly want to make sure that we get those in just as quickly as possible.
And I know one of the other things we're doing is helping promote Suffolk National Night Out. So everybody remembers, Tuesday, August the 6th, circle that on your calendar, don't forget. But as part of that, we're out there at different events, talking about it, promoting it. You'll see banners, you'll see these things out in the community, especially as we get closer and closer to the big night. But the duck pluck, let's talk a little bit about that, and that's at one of our TGIF events.
Certainly. In fact, we kind of like to call that the party before the big party, kind of get everybody really excited and ready for that night. But that will take place, as you mentioned, at a TGIF concert. It's Bennett's Creek Park. It's going to be on Friday, August the 2nd. So, of course, that's our weekend leading up to the big night. So certainly we invite our everybody to come out and enjoy beautiful location as well as some fantastic music. But one of the fun things that we have, especially for the kids, is we've reverted from a duck oh gosh, what do we even call it before? A duck race.
race.
Yeah,
which we actually used to have on the Nansen River here at behind the Hilton Garden Inn,
That's right.
Suffolk riverfront.
Right.
But the one year, of course, we had some issues with some tidal situations, and it was kind of
A little slow going.
a little slow going for those ducks. So we kind of regrouped and was
Right.
like, you know what, we changed it, of course, to a
Yes.
duck pluck, which is awful fun for the kids as
Right.
well. We've got a cute little net that we grab all these little patriotic duckies that have been
Right.
swimming around in the pool, give out the registration card numbers for all of our folks in
Yep.
attendance there, and have some fantastic prizes. So again, it's just another component to help us get that National Night Out message out there, and to help promote that. And as I said, another really nice evening for our citizens.
We've got just a couple minutes left in the program, and Captain Everson, I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
Certainly, if someone is thinking about participating in National Night Out on any level, what would you say to encourage them to take that step and be a part of this year's fun?
It's a great time. It's a great way to get to know your community, get to know your neighbors. All the events we have leading up to it, including the basically the kickoff we have that night. It's a great way to come together.
Right.
So it's a great way to just not only know your neighbors, but especially the bigger events we have. Know your people who may not be your neighbors. That you just may live in the same city that draws so many people. But it's a good way for us to bond with our community, people that we may not see on a regular basis, find out what's going on, if there's problems going on in the community that we can address, and help make the city overall a better place to be.
Dinah?
Again, as I said, just the one night, it's just phenomenal to see the police officers out, having a great time tossing footballs with the kids. The motorcycles and everything,
Sure.
and getting in, looking at those police vehicles. We all know that children, between that and our fire engines and our ambulances that are out there on scene, nothing beats the look on a child when they, climb up into that
Yes.
engine, or when they're talking to an officer and
Sure.
the officer's showing them their badge and so forth. It's just, it's heartwarming. I think that kind of is in a nutshell. Where, as I said, it's such a different society we live in now, but this just brings us all together.
And Suffolk National Night Out is truly, as everyone has been saying today, bringing people together to say no to crime, get to know your community, be a part of your community, grow your community as the case would be, just getting to know your friends, your neighbors, and those from beyond. And again, we're all here in Suffolk, a very big city geographically, but and everybody's got big hearts, and I think that really shows for National Night Out. Again, we're going for our sixth, not to say that's any pressure on anybody, but our sixth national, top #1 in the nation national award. But as Diana said, we've been placing in the top 10, top 13 for a number of years now, and it really shows, again, what everybody in Suffolk puts into National Night Out and the benefits that we all reap from it year-round. It's one night, but it is definitely a year-round feeling that everybody encapsulates in there. So I want to thank you all both for your time today. Tuesday, August the 6th, Suffolk National Night Out. Be a part of it this year. That would do it for this edition of On the Scene. I'm your host, Tim Kelly. We'll see you next time.